So today I am getting ready to show my daughters how to make a bib. We've got 3 different types of bibs that we're making today, and so since I'm giving them a class, I thought that I'd go ahead and record it for your benefit. So let's go ahead and get started then. So Miranda, I'm going to have you do the drool bib, and Sadie, I'm going to have you do the cereal bib. So what you're going to do first is, grab that tape right there, Sadie. What you're going to do first is you're going to cut the bottom off of this piece here. And Miranda, you're going to cut the bottom off of this. And then what you're actually going to do is put it here and then tape it together. So that way it's one piece. Randy, go ahead and start that. Okay, so we've got our pattern pieces cut out, and we've also went ahead and picked some fabric for our bibs. So with Sadie's cereal bib and Miranda's drool bib, all it's going to be is a piece of cotton fabric on the front. You can back that with the same fabric if you want, or you put flannel back there. I have some fleece that we might decide to use. We're going to touch it and feel it first. The point of those are simply just to keep the drool and the small amount of cereal off of your baby's chest. I am going to make a spaghetti bib. This is actually going to be like a main dinner bib when the baby starts eating solid food. And so what I'm actually going to do, it's not PUL, but it is like PUL, except the plastic feel of the urethane that they put on there is on the right side of the fabric. A lot of times they're called like a wax fabric or something like that. You can get it at almost any store. This is actually not stretchy like PUL that you would use on cloth diapers either. It's specifically made for bibs. So I'm going to use this, and I'm probably going to back it with a piece of fleece or flannel, depending on what I find. And so when you're looking at fabrics, we wanted to use some of our stretch fabrics. I'm sorry, some of my, not stretch, some of my scrap fabric, yeah. And so I keep all of my scraps. And so this is a great way to use your scraps. Now this one is for you, right, Sadie?
Yep.
So what you're going to want to do is fold it in half like this. Because see how this line right here, this is where this is going to cut on the fold. Okay, so that means that this is going to be like this, and you're not going to cut that part. Okay, so what you're going to actually do is just cut around it like this. So you need to find a place on the fabric that you can fold it in half that it will actually work. Now this spot that I've got it should probably work just fine because there's no cuts underneath it. Maybe if we just move it back a little bit. Randy, do you want to look at yours? Go ahead, here, move my stuff.
No, it's not actually big enough.
You know, I think it will if you, I think it will. But you can fold it that way or the other way. Now wait a minute, Sadie, don't start cutting anything. You have to iron it first.
Oh, you iron it?
Yes. Okay, now, I'm going to let Randy look at for hers. Nope, see, this is going to be your fold. See how this is cut on the fold?
Oh.
That is going to be on the fold. Everything else around it, you're going to cut around this, but you're not going to cut that part. Okay, so when you open it up, it's in the shape of a bib. Okay, so then after you get your fabrics, go ahead and press them so that way all of these wrinkles, and we have a lot, will come out, and then we'll come right back. So you see how I cut all the way around on the outside, and then what I'm doing is I'm just going to hold it still, and I'm going to cut around the neck area separately. It's just easier that way. Okay, so now that I got that, when I take it off, see, this was the fold line, and that is why I have a double-sided bib. Does that make sense? Okay. And what we decided to do, instead of using fleece as the back, I did find this really chocolate color flannel that will be perfect. And what I was telling the girls was that because the fabrics that we're using are wovens, we really want to use a woven for the back too. Because if you use a knit on the back, what will happen is that it will actually, the knit will stretch and then it won't lay properly. So I'm going to cut this, and you are going to cut the rest of your bibs. Okay, so while Sadie finishes cutting her underside of her bib, or her lining, I'm just going to go on and explain to you what we're going to do next. So the next step is just going to be to put your two pieces together. This is going to be my front piece, the part that you're going to see when it's on the baby, and then this is going to be the back piece, so the lining. Each bib has two pieces. So, but we have to sew them together. So when we sew them together, we put the right sides together because we're going to sew it inside out. What is your question, Sadie? There's two pieces. Oh, it's not folded right, is it? Okay, so unfold it. Will it fit on here? That's pretty skinny. Oh, this way. No, actually, that's not going to work. I'll come right back to you. Hold on one second. Let me just finish explaining this. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to put the right sides together. So this part is going to be facing up because we're going to make it inside out. That's what right sides together means. And then this part, this is the same on both sides, so it doesn't matter which way you put it, but then we're going to lay it down on top just like that. And then we're going to pin all around the outside edges, because what we're going to do, look at me, is we're going to start sewing here, go all the way around when we sew, and then we're going to stop here. We're going to leave this part open because we're going to turn it right side out right there. Okay, so when you're pinning, you want to maybe have a pin a different direction right here and a different direction right here, so that way you know where to start and stop. Does that make sense? All right, Sadie, I'll help you now. Yep. Okay, so now Miranda and I both have our two pieces pinned together on my spaghetti bib and on her drool bib. You've got the drool bib, right? Okay. Sadie is going to finish pinning her two pieces together inside out, and we're going to walk over to the sewing machine while she finishes that, and I will bring you with us. Okay. So what we're going to do is, this is Miranda's. We're going to start here. I'm sorry, we're probably going to start on this side, and then we're going to end on this side. So good job putting that there to kind of give you an idea that it's coming up. So you're going to want to put it right in, put the presser foot down. Now the distance of the seam allowance for this pattern is 3/8 of an inch. And that is exactly the distance between where the needle goes in and the edge of the presser foot, which means that while you're sewing, you're going to keep the edge of the fabric right up against this edge of the presser foot. That will give you the right seam allowance. Okay? Otherwise, it won't fit on the baby's neck right. Miranda, start sewing really slowly and we can show Sadie what we mean. Okay, so we have gone all the way around our bibs and have sewn them together inside out, and we have about a 2-inch opening at the bottom of the bib. So before we turn it right side out, this is what we're going to do. Oh, you still have a pin in yours. Take that out. So before we turn it right side out, what we have to do is this area here around the neck and these areas like where there's a lot of curve, those are going to have a hard time turning right side out. So what we do to fix that is we can cut notches in the areas that are going to be shrunk down, so like in this area, or you can even just take and cut slits like this. But when you do that, you want to make sure that you don't clip your seam. So it's just inside the seam allowance, and it's what that does is, watch what happens when I do this. See how it's pulling apart? How there's like gaps in there? Well, without that, there wouldn't be. So by doing that, it gives it a little bit more give. And then what I also do is, like, at any points, we're going to do the same thing. Like that. Now, my bib is a little bit different of a shape than yours, and so I'm actually going to do the same thing right here. And see down here, this is going to need it there too. Okay, so Miranda and I have both clipped the edges of our bibs. Anywhere that has a curve, we just clipped it. Sadie is turning hers right side out. Randy's already turned hers right side out. And now I need to turn right side out of mine. So I'm just going to push it through that hole in the bottom that we left open, the 2-inch hole. And then I'm going to take this pencil, after I get it mostly turned, I'm going to take this pencil like this, go right up to the edges, and that will help pull it, or you can use your fingers. This one I'm going to actually have to use my fingers a little bit because it's so wide. Those ones work really well with a pencil. Do you want to use that to kind of push out the tips? Okay, so after I get done poking my tips out with that pencil that Sadie's using, I'm going to iron this. And when I do that, see this hole right here? I'm going to just make sure that the fabric is folded inside itself when I press it. And what that's going to do is it's going to make a nice edge, and then we will top stitch all the way around. And I'll show you what a top stitch is. You still have to poke out your corners a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. Sadie, yours looks great. Thanks. This is the opening, and I'm going to start sewing here on this edge and go all the way across. Sadie, if you need to come over on this side, you can. Okay, Now what I'm going to do, see how I'm lining up with, Sadie, I need you to come over here and not touch that, okay? I'm lining up in here. See how close to the edge I am? So then I just sew right over top of the line, and then I'll back up and go back and forth right on top of the line I already sewed. Okay. Okay, so I have gone around all the edges of my bib and sewn them in place. I closed that 2-inch opening, and then I went ahead and I've already attached the snaps to my spaghetti bib. I did want to show you how this is written up. So these 2 snaps here, it doesn't matter if you use the stud or the socket, but the other side needs to be studs. I have more sockets, so I use 2 sockets on this side. And then on this side, I used the corresponding stud. And you only need 1 on this side, and it's just for 1 inch worth of allowance in case your baby has a really tiny neck. Then over here, down at the bottom, it says here which way that the studs should go. So both of these studs should be facing the back. So I made them face the back. And then the socket facing the back, and then the socket facing the front here. And what this is going to do is if you take these 2 middle, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. If you take these 2 middle ones here, snap them, and then this and this snap them, what it does is it creates a cup. And that's why I call it the spaghetti bib, because we lose a lot on spaghetti nights. So you can see there that it's nice and cupped. So when it's around baby, I mean, it'll even hold water when they spill it. And my little one is spilling a lot right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the girls put their snaps on using the snap press. Sadie has already put on a socket, so I didn't want to change the dye until after Miranda put on the socket. Randy, please come over here, and we're going to take that. I just want to make sure we were in the right spot. Okay, so here is our measuring thing, our little ruler. And so what you're going to do is from the tip, you're going to measure a 1/2 inch. This is the 1/2 inch mark. So go ahead and draw a dot, or a good size dot, where you want your, on the end. See, this is 1/2 inch in, where you want your snap to go. Now with the drool bibs and the cereal bibs, even though there's 2 dots, I still only ever put 1 in. And go ahead and draw one on the other side too. Sadie, did you draw one on both sides?
On both sides?
What are you doing there, sweet pea? Okay. Put this at the end, like this, and then just draw that at the end of the. Got it?
Yep.
Does it snap the way you want? Haha, yes it does. Good job, high five. Woo! All right, so both of you put your bibs right here. We'll take a picture of them. Awesome, there they are.